Okay. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Radhika Raman Giriju Ki Jai Ho. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janabalava Givadadari Gopi Janabalava Givadadari Yasoda Nanjana Braja Jana Ranjanan Yasoda Nanjana Braja Jana Ranjanan Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janabalava Givanadhari Gopi Janabalava Givanadhari Yasoda Nanjana Braja Jana Ranjanan Yasoda Nanjana Braja Jana Ranjanan Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janabalava Givadadhari Gopi Janabalava Givanadhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Radhika Raman Ki Jai. First of all, I'd like to offer my heartfelt Puspanjali to my Guru Maharaj, my Harinam Diksha Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, our Srila Prabhupada. Second of all, to my Guru Dev, my Bhajan Shiksha Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, to Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj and our entire Guru Parampara, and especially to our Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Braj Rasik Siromani, and his Madhurya Kadambini. But first of all, I'd like to speak a little bit about, again, Chaturmasya, and especially this Chaturmasya, which is very special because there is Purushottama Mas within our Chaturmasya. So there's 5 special months this year. And so I wanted to speak a little bit about Purushottama. So Purushottama comes every 3.5 years, more or less. I don't know the astrology about it so well. But one time, in 1991, I was with one of my god sisters, Aditya Didi. And it was 1991, and I was living in ISKCON Vrindavan. And we went to visit our Shiksha Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, who was at that time staying in the Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Math here in Seva Kunj. And I had come to live in Vrindavan in 1989, so I was fairly new. And we went to him, and it was Purushottama that year. It was at the time of Purushottama. So he asked us how we were, and we asked him how we could develop our bhajan. Now you have to remember, this is 1991. I'm just coming from America, ISKCON, US, Los Angeles. And so we said we should start chanting Radha Kripa Kataksha. And I didn't really know so much about it, but we did start doing that. And that was 1991. And then we told him, because it was Purushottama, we were chanting the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Purushottama Yoga. He said, well, that's very nice, but this isn't really the Purushottama that we worship. The Purushottama that's speaking this 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he's Dwarkadish Krishna. And our Purushottama is Brajendanandan Sri Krishna. And of course yes, okay. And he said, and this Brajendanandan Sri Krishna, he is very special. The Brajendanandan Sri Krishna that we worship is the one who is always worshiping the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika, always falling at her feet and begging for forgiveness, offering his peacock feather, his flute at her lotus feet. This is the Brajendanandan Sri we worship. And in the month of Purushottama, this Brajendanandan Sri Krishna, Purushottam Krishna, Gokulpati, Brajendanandan Sri Krishna, during the month of Purushottama, he personally takes a vow. And he goes to Radhakund every day, and he only eats once a day, and he takes a vow that he takes bath 3 times a day, and he chants 1 lakh of the mantra, Hey Radhe, Hey Radhe, Hey Radhe, every day. This is our Purushottam Sri Gokula Pati Brajendanandan Sri Krishna. So we thought, well, that's really nice. We're being introduced to the Braj Ras, you might say. We were both, she had been in India for a long time. She was serving in Bombay, but still it's a little different mood than Braj.
Who was that?
Aditya Mataji. So we were very happy, so we started doing that. And he said also, you can chant the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita if you like, but you should also chant the 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 21, chapter 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and then I think it's 35, which is Jugal Geet. And then it was 46 and 47, was Brahmar Geet, Uddhava and Brahmar Geet. He said, you also chant these, especially the Geets, the Venu Geet, the Pranaya Geet, Gopi Geet, Jugal Geet, and Brahmar Geet. This would be very special, especially during Purushottama. So that was a real treat. That was a real treat. Also, another time, in 2001, I happened to be in Purushottam month in Purushottam Dham, Jagannath Puri, with Srila Narayan Maharaj again. And we were going on Parikama with him. And he explained some of the glories of Purushottam Mas. And he explained a little bit of the history behind it. He explained that, of course, Chaturmasya is very auspicious and conducive for bhakti for all Vaishnava Sampradayas, not just us. And for the Gaudiya Sampradayas, particularly auspicious. And this Purushottam month, originally, there's a presiding deity for every month. So the presiding deity for this extra month, he was feeling very sad because all the other 12 months were ridiculing him and belittling him. Because he's usually, they call, in regular Indian society, they call it Malmas. You know, it's considered inauspicious. So he was really sad. So we went to Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma heard his sad story. And Brahma took him to Purushottam Narayan. And Narayan also heard his sad story. And he took him to Gokulpati Brajendanandan Sri Krishna. And when Sri Krishna heard his sad story, he said, oh, don't worry. I'll become the presiding deity of your month, and I will give you all my good qualities. So this is the best month. But then there became, among the Vaishnavas, a little bit of a controversy. Which month is better, Kartik or Purushottam? Which month is the better month? Of course, it kind of depends on your inclination. If you're Krishna Paksha, then of course it'll be Purushottam. If you're Radhika Paksha, you'll be Kartik. But also, as Srila Narayan Maharaj said, the logic behind Kartik being the most sublime and glorious month is because we cannot understand Purushottam Sri Krishna without her mercy. She's the one who reveals the mercy and the qualities and the glories and the beauty of Sri Krishna. So really, she's the most glorious, and she's the most beloved of Krishna, and she keeps Krishna under control, and he's always wanting to taste what she's tasting. He cannot even imagine, how glorious she is and how she can attract him. He attracts everyone, but she's attracting him. Okay, and so the month of Kartik, it illuminates the month of Purushottama, which in return illuminates Kartik. So according to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Kartik is the most glorious. But of course, Purushottama is very glorious because Purushottama is the Nath, the beloved of Radharani. So in this way, there's always a controversy going on like this. So for us here in Vrindavan, Purushottama starts on the 18th of July, and it ends on the 16th of August. And in this month, we follow externally like the month of Kartik. So for half a month, we have, before Purushottama, we have the fasting from the spinach and the green leafies, and then after Purushottama for half a month, we start again. But for Purushottama, we follow like the month of Kartik, which is, I think we fast, mustard oil, mustard seeds, and what's the other, sesame seeds and sesame oil, like that. So there's a special consideration here, because it's coming at this time. So all of us, we can make a special endeavor during Purushottama to please Purushottama, Brajanananda, and Sri Krishna. And what are we going to beg him for? Oh, please, please, somehow make me so qualified that your beloved will accept me as her maidservant. This is our aspiration, isn't it? So we can do some special brats during Purushottama, but if we have no time, we can't really expand because we've always already expanded as much as we can at least try and improve the quality of our bhakti, isn't it? Try, let's criticize less, let's not criticize at all, like this. Let's try and honor the Vaishnavas, more and with more affection, like this. This can be our striving to more and more, and begging for Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas to clear our anarthas, so that we don't have any impediments in our bhakti, so we can actually offer, pure devotion, some love and affection to Sri Guru, the Vaishnavas, Mahaprabhu, Radha and Krishna. This can be our aspiration. So now back to Madhurya Kadambini. We're in, as we know, shower 7 of Madhurya Kadambini, which is Bhav. Now this is a very high subject matter, and as I explained last week, it's really beyond my capacity to speak on this subject matter, but because it's been presented, we have to speak about it. We have to speak about it with, with great honesty, which is, I'm just repeating what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has written and what I've heard from our Guru Parampara, and hoping that I don't put any obstacles in the way. And so I can just repeat what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has said. Because this level of bhav is completely transcendental. 100, as we spoke about last week, is coming from the Visuddha Sattva platform. There is no tinge of the material mode, not even Sattva gun. This is Visuddha Sattva, pure transcendental goodness. Sat Chit Ananda, Sandini, Samvit, Ladini, Shakti. And as we spoke about it's a special service mood, the eternal service mood in the heart of the parikars of Radha and Krishna. This is what this bhav actually is, rati. It's also called rati. And we're aspiring at, as a sadhak, well actually, what we learn we're now proceeding to 1C. We've done 1A and 1B. No, 1A, 1B, 1C. No, we're on 1D. We did 1A, 1B, 1C. So what we learn in this 1D is that only the devotees who have rati, who have bhav, are actually sadhaks. Not until we have bhav are we actually sadhaks. In the stage of sadhan bhajan, sadhan bhakti, we are aspiring sadhaks. We're not actually sadhaks. Sometimes they call us sadhaks. You know, just like when somebody's in kindergarten, they tell the kindergarten person, oh, you're such a good student, you know, you're so qualified, like this. But actually, that's to encourage them, right? So we're being encouraged that, oh yes, we're practicing sadhan bhajan, sadhan bhakti, and we're sadhaks. But really, when you hear the definition of what a sadhak actually is, and the example of a sadhak is Bilvamangala Thakur. Can we gouge our eyes out when we get upset because we saw some pretty lady? Can we do that? And can we proceed on to Vrindavan and Krishna will come and guide us to Vrindavan? Are we at that stage? So there is a verse from the from the Bhakti Rasamrita. Where is it? Must be here. From the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. 2.1.276. This is the verse that defines who is a sadhak. Utpana Rati. I'm not going to say the Sanskrit. I'm going to say the English. You can look it up. 2.1.276 Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Those devotees in whom Krishna Rati or Bhav has awakened, but whose obstacles have not yet been completely eradicated. See, we're not quite in prem yet. Prem is when that last little bit of anartha from aparads is gone. In Bhav, there's still a little bit of that aparads. There's still a little bit. But this Rati has awakened, and they have attained the qualification to have direct audience of Krishna, are known as sadhaks. So we're aspiring, we're desiring, isn't it? Yeah, it's very high, a very high thing. The example is given from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is 2.1.278, which is 2 verses after this definition. This is how Rupa Goswami defines a Bhav Bhakta, or a real sadhak. I'll read this. I'll read the English. O intelligent person, do not worry that the blazing flames of the forest fire of material existence continue to exist. Don't worry about it. He's talking to a Bhav Bhakta, a sadhak. This is Rupa Goswami. Despite your becoming drenched in tears that fell when you heard a river-like flow of narrations about Sri Bhagavan, extreme jubilation that resembles many fish dancing can be seen on your limbs, and thus it seems that very soon the black cloud, Krishna Megh, which is filled with a shower of mercy that destroys the hankering for worldly nectar, will arise in the sky of your heart. So what's explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Narayan Maharaj, who gives a commentary, he said what it means, what this verse means, is that when you're hearing Harikatha and a constant flow of tears is coming from your eyes, then you don't have to worry about material bondage anymore. Even though there's a little something there, soon, very soon, Krishna's going to give you mercy. Very soon. So you don't have to worry anymore. And at this stage, Harikatha becomes the topmost nectar. So nectarian, and you don't have a desire for anything else. Your heart becomes vacant of all material desires. You only desire more and more and more to hear this nectarian Harikatha coming from the pure devotees. This is the stage of Rati and Bhav. So we should be very careful. This is why we read this, so we understand who we are and where we're at. We can't, someone could try and pretend to be in Bhav. And there's actually many, many persons in India and around the world who, unfortunately, either consciously or unconsciously, those that are conscious are real cheaters and hypocrites. Those that are unconscious are just misinformed and ignorant. They actually think that they're Bhav Bhaktas, that they're Rasik. This word Rasik is used very liberally. Oh, he's such a Rasik devotee, or he's Bhavuka. But actually, this is very, very high. Actually, Rasik and Bhavuka is way up in praying. Way high. We're aspiring to become Rasik devotees. We're aspiring to become Bhavuka devotees. Like this. The definition of a Sahajya, someone who's thinking he's on this high platform, is that he doesn't even have ripe Shraddha. And where's Shraddha? Shraddha's down here, isn't it? Prema is up here. On unripe Shraddha, that means he's just still trying to have Sadho Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, and Anartha Vritti, actually. That's the actual truth. Well, someone down here with unripe Shraddha, he's trying to taste praying. He's trying to taste Ras. He's trying to practice Ras. And we see it quite a bit here in India, in Bengal, in Braj. There are quite a few people like this. Prabhupada has warned us about this. All of our acharyas warn us about this. Some of them are just ignorant and they've been cheated and they don't really realize it. And some are conscious cheaters and they're cheating others. So we should be very careful. This is one reason why our acharyas have told us to be very careful in the holy Dham. We must be very careful because not everyone here is honest and really wanting our welfare. Many persons actually are wanting to take us for themselves, for their own sense gratification, actually. So we have to be extremely careful. We have to very strictly follow the pure line of Sachinandan Gaurhari coming down, Swarp Damodar, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, 6 Goswamis, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta, etc., etc. And they're sincere and honest followers. We have to be very careful, or we can get easily cheated. Easily cheated. This bhav is something that is a gift that's given from the parikaras, the Ragatmika devotees of Krishna. And for us, who is that? That is Rupa Goswami, who is none other than Rupa Manjari. We are aspiring Rupa Nuga Gaudiya Vaishnavas. We're aspiring for the mood that's in the heart of Rupa Goswami, which is a mood of Rupa Manjari. This is and that is what our potential is. We've come to this line. Our gurus are giving this. If we were meant to be a devotee of Ram, we would be in Ayodhya, and we'd have the Ram Nam there in Ayodhya. If we were meant to be a queen in Dwarka, we'd end up there with Dwarkadheesh Krishna in this kind of mood, with a guru like this. But no, we're very fortunate. We've come to this line of Rupa Goswami. So we have to be very careful that we follow Rupa Goswami. That we don't start to think, okay, now I can... Oh, that kirtan I heard next to Radha Damodar in that place, I don't know the name of it. That's such a beautiful kirtan. I want to go there. You end up going there, and they are not in the line of Rupa Goswami. And then you end up maybe out at Radhakund, whatever. And they themselves may be very sincere, but it's not for us. You'll end up, if you have a guru who's Rupa Nuga, you'll end up leaving your guru, you'll end up offending your guru, because they're not at all interested in this. They're interested in something else. I can't make any comment, I've never been there. And there's so many places like this. And the main thing that gets the ignorant, the devotees that aren't careful, is a lot of it's kirtan. Such a beautiful kirtan. And they're all weeping. Oh, we have to be very careful. Extremely careful. Bhakti Vinod Thakur has warned us we should only hear the songs of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, and the devotees like this that are recommended by our Guru Parampara. And we should hear it from those that are in our line. Because the moods of the kirtaneer is in his songs. And it comes to us. And it also comes in our heart, in our mind. You see? Especially if it's somebody who's just, what do you call them? What's the word? Someone who's a kirtaneer just to make money. Professional kirtaneer. Because in that mood of money and lust and everything, it's there in the kirtan. It may be beautiful. They may be the most beautiful singer. But what's the mood? Same with Harikatha. You go over here, this person over here is speaking such Harikatha. But they don't even like our sampradaya. They say our sampradaya is bogus, or it's what is it, the fifth sampradaya, or they don't accept Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. Oh, but that's such beautiful Harikatha. I never heard anything like it. Vrindavan Mahimamrita, they're speaking. Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. We have to be very careful. Extremely careful. Because what is our ticket back home, back to Godhead? Our Sri Guru. Our Sri Guru has picked us up and given us the gift of being able to one day be a Rupanuga Gaudiya Vaishnava. We're aspiring now. He has given us that gift. And if we aren't grateful to him, and if we don't make him and service to him the center of our life, Krishna won't be happy. The Guru is very merciful. He's we're like his children. He says, oh, please come, you know. But Krishna won't be happy. If we neglect our Guru and don't take him seriously and don't follow him properly, Krishna's not happy. Nityananda is not happy. Akhanda Guru Tattva. So Guru Seva, Guru Nishta is the backbone of bhakti. And if our Guru has told us, like Srila Prabhupada, when I first joined in 1972, we were allowed to sing the song by Jayadev Goswami, Gita Shrita Kamala. But then later, when there was some difficulties, we had the Gopi Bhava Club and some other things happening. I was in Los Angeles and many things were going on. He said we couldn't sing the songs of Jayadev Goswami except for Das Avatar. We were allowed to sing that. And I know for myself, I was very fortunate. Somehow, Super Soul, Krishna, I don't know who, gave me some intelligence. I didn't break that. I didn't sing those songs till much later when I became more qualified and I got the sanction of my Shiksha Guru. And you're talking a long time. You're talking 1991 as opposed to 1972. Anyhow, but in my heart, what I started to pray was, well, okay, but let me somehow become qualified to be able to sing these songs. One day, I hope I can become qualified to sing these songs of Jayadev Goswami, and just see, that's what happened. If we're not envious, if we follow Sri Guru, then it's not that we stay in kindergarten the whole time. We go up, and we can become more qualified for higher subject matters. But we have to be very careful it's done properly. Like this. So, okay, so back to Madhurya Kadambini. So we're on section 1C. And, no, 1D. I keep doing that. 1D. So this is described as a vision of Bhagavan through all one's senses. Now this is so beautiful and so beyond me that I'm going to read it. Like I read some of Ashakti and Ruchi, because they're just, I don't have the qualifications to speak about this. And it's so beautiful what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has written. It's so beautiful. And he has experienced. This is his mood. This is his bhav. He has prem, so he can speak. Okay, so I'm just going to repeat his words. When rati, or bhav, awakens in the heart of the bhakta, the jata rati bhakta. Now that means one in whom bhav has actually come. It's called jata rati bhakta. That means someone who actually bhav is starting to come. Relishes the darkish complexion of Rajendranandan Sri Krishna's limbs, all of his limbs. He starts relishing the beauty of his limbs. Also, the reddish hue of his eyes and lips. He starts relishing this. Purely. Not like someone who's with unripe Shraddha and is full of lust, actually. We have to be so careful. One time, I was over, next door we have Imli Tala, right? And there's so beautiful pictures of Gaur Leela there, but there's also few pictures of Radharani and her Leela. She's there as the Queen of Vrindavan, she's there as the Queen of the Rasadaya, she's there when she's in Man at Mansarovar, and when she's in separation, and also when she's meeting Krishna, when he's turned golden. I saw one person coming through, and he was trying to embrace and kiss Radharani all the way down. The poor fellow, he was so misguided, so unfortunate. We don't do these things. It's not for us. Radharani is the beloved of Krishna. He can embrace him. Plus, who are we? We're not even on that level. So we have to be extremely careful. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, so this Bhav Bhakta, he's relishing the complexion, this dark complexion of Krishna's limbs, the reddish hue of his eyes and lips, the whitish brilliance emanating from his shining moon-like lotus face, and the yellow luster of his garments and his ornaments. So he's just relishing all the beauties and the Madhuris of Krishna. Relishing like that. But this is in a mood of service, not of material enjoyment, not sense gratification, like that. Krishna Prasad. Oh, it's all Krishna Prasad. In this way, he experiences Sri Krishna as being very near to him. He actually experiences that Krishna is very near. And the devotee's voice becomes choked. So his voice chokes up. And he drenches his body in a continuous flow of tears. So what we're hearing here is the 6th verse of Shikshashtakam, isn't it? How's it go? How does it start? Yes. Nayanam Gauda Shudoya. How's it go? Yes. Yes, yes. The 6th verse. When, oh when will my eyes be filled with tears? I'll be crying. My voice will be choked up. My hairs will stand on end. The 6th verse of Shikshashtakam. This is a level above. When it's spontaneous, it's not concocted. We haven't learned how to cry and make our hair stand up. No, it's actually coming from a heart that's full of bhav, full of Vishuddha Sattva that's been given to him by Sri Guru and Sri Vaishnavas. It's been a gift. He's been given this. And he's able to actually relish the beauty of Krishna in all ways. Then automatically tears are coming. So then, sometimes that devotee hankers to make as the ornaments of his ears the sweet sound of Krishna's flute. So we've moved on from Rupa Madhuri to Venu Madhuri. Remember, Krishna has 4 Madhuris. So now we're moving on to Venu Madhuri. The tinkling of Sri Krishna's ankle bells, the melodious speech emanating from Sri Krishna's sweet voice, and Sri Krishna's direct order to serve his lotus feet. So at this time, Krishna actually gives some direct service. So searching them out, the devotee circumambulates different places, pastime places, and time and again he stops, pricks up his ears, and stands motionless, trying to perceive the sound. Like this. Amazing. He's actually experiencing this. He's not desiring to experience. He's actually experiencing it. Sometimes he wonders, what will the touch of the lotus hands of Vrindavana and Sri Krishna be like? What will it be like when Krishna actually puts his hand up? What will that be like? In his ecstasy, as if experiencing that touch, all the hairs on his body stand on end. He sometimes thinks he's experiencing the beautiful fragrance of Sri Krishna's transcendental body. Flaring his nostrils, he inhales time and again in order to become familiar with that fragrance. Oh. And sometimes he thinks, alas, alas, will I ever be fortunate enough to taste the nectar of Sri Shamasundar's lips and his Mahaprasadam? His tongue then proceeds to lick his lips, like this, but it's real. Intense happiness. He's so happy. He feels like he's actually experiencing the Madhuris of Krishna. And he's thinking that his lips actually have that nectar. Sometimes within his heart, he obtains a momentary vision or spurti of his beloved Krishna. So finally Krishna appears. It's not external. It's a vision. It's called spurti. It's actually transcendental. It's Sat Chit Ananda. It's not a material thing. It's not imagination. It's this Vishuddha Sattva. It's Krishna giving some direct mercy, Spurti. And within Spurti, Krishna sometimes himself comes. There's an example that I've heard. One time, Srimati Radharani, Krishna was actually in Mathura, Dwarka, and she's feeling so much separation. But then all of a sudden, she's embracing a tamal tree, and then she says, "Oh, Krishna has come." And she's talking with him like this, and all the sakis are there. But then all of a sudden, it disappears. It's a spurti. But sometimes Krishna actually comes. But the spurti and his coming, it's all transcendental. It's all Krishna, but in different ways. So this is the Bhav Bhakti is qualified to have spurti, real spurti. Thinking that he has directly achieved Krishna, his heart begins to dance in happiness. Ananda. He's finally attained Ananda. Premananda, Rasananda, Paramananda. At that time, he becomes delirious at the thought that he has attained the wealth of relishing Bhagavan's sweetnesses, Madhuris. And again, when that momentary vision disappears, when the spurti disappears, he becomes very restless and full of lamentation. Thus, such a devotee in whose heart Bhav has awakened decorates his soul, with the various sanchari bhavs, which we will read about. These are the 33 transitory bhavs, called vyabhichari bhavs, sanchari bhavs. So he decorates his heart with these bhavs. They're ecstatic emotions that rise and fall in the ocean of one's permanent bhav. We all have a permanent bhav, whether it's Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, and that we have, it's called Sthayi Bhav, it's permanent. That's our permanent. But within the Sthayi Bhav, sometimes these Sanchari Bhavs, they come up and they go down, because the Sthayi Bhav is like an ocean. And these moods come up and they go down, and come up and go down. That's why, and we'll read what they are, sometimes it seems very contradictory. Sometimes Radharani is very proud. Sometimes she's very humble. How is this? They're Sanchari Bhavs. And they're for the pleasure of Krishna. They're to stimulate the Leela. They're appropriate for the Leela, for Krishna's happiness, like this. And they're automatic. It's not that one is, okay, now I think the pride should come. Okay, now I think I need to be humble. No, these bhavs are automatic in the hearts of these bhaktas. They're just coming and going by the mercy of Yogamaya, for the pleasure of Krishna. Like this. It's not like an actor on the stage that has to somehow make these things happen. This is called Raganuga Bhakti, Ragatmika Bhakti, spontaneous. So the Bhav Bhakti decorates his heart with these moods, and he becomes beautiful, very, very beautiful. But those around him, the common folk, they don't understand him. They cannot understand. We already read about that in Ashakti and even in Ruchi. By the time one reaches Ruchi and Ashakti, or to speak of Bhav, he's very misunderstood. Only the devotees, the real, sincere, the pure devotee can understand, oh, he's so fortunate. Here's a Bhav Bhakta. Then they say, oh, he's very... Because he seems like a mad person. Just completely mad. So, that is a description of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Then he goes on to explain that at this stage of rati, this is the supreme form of happiness, of bliss. This is topmost happiness. It's awakening in the heart. It hasn't reached its complete maturity, because if you remember, we're at the stage of Bhav, we have the flowers. At the stage of Prem, we have the fruit. So it's just beginning. This topmost happiness, this Ananda, is just beginning to awaken. So the devotee is astonished, because it's nothing even like the stage of Ashakti, which was quite astonishing. or the stage of ruchi. But this bhav is completely, it's of another dimension, you see. And at the stage of rati, or bhav, we still have our material body, which is becoming very transformed, in one sense spiritualized. But the material body, the sadhak body, is still there, so we can do our sadhan bhajan. But when we get to the level of prem, the material body is no more. But this is a very mysterious point in our evolution. There's a very famous purport by Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, when it's talking about the gopis going to the rasa dance, and the ones that get held back and the ones that can go. And there he's explaining that the material body just kind of like disappears. But the material body, especially at that level, it's not that when the gopis that couldn't go to the rasa dance, that they died, that appeared that they died. No, because that would be very inauspicious for the rasa dance. It's just any little bit of inauspiciousness was dissolved, but they still had their gopi body, and they become qualified finally to go to the rasa dance. But then you also have in the Bhagavatam the example of Dhruva Maharaj. What's this, 4th canto, I think, isn't it? Yeah, Dhruva Maharaj is 4th canto, I think, or 3rd canto. I think it's 4th. And remember, he goes back to Vaikuntha in his self-same body, and his mother's going along, before him. So at different times, for different reasons, there's different examples of, you might say, passing on, leaving your body, like this. Most common is that it appears that one is passed on and the body is there, and especially for us, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, especially us in Vrindavan, the body is taken to the banks of the Jamuna in a very special way, and it's burned there, and the ashes are put in the Jamuna. Very auspicious. And for those that are around the world, the ashes are brought to Vrindavan, or Navadvip, put in the Jamuna, the Ganga, sometimes in Hardwar, mentioned, the ashes in Hardwar. This is a more common departure of a Vaishnava. I saw something very beautiful. Here I'm living in Vrindavan, right? And over here, we have a very old building that used to be a school building. And now it's 2 different families. They've divided it. And there used to be 2 old ladies, one on this side and one on that side. The old ladies, and they both passed away. But the one on this side, she was quite spiritual. She was always chanting. I never really met her, got to know her, but I could see her because I'm at the same level. She'd be out chanting. So she passed away. And it was down in the courtyard, and they were having all this kirtan. And now, of course, I was watching, very curious. And then when they came out the front gate, it was so beautiful. They had made a flower boat for her. Her palanquin wasn't just a palanquin, it was a flower boat, swan carrier, like that. And with kirtan, they took her on the swan carrier to the Jamuna. And they, of course, burned her body, but it was so beautiful. This is Vrindavan. This is Braj culture. And then I heard that actually that's kind of common. I had never seen it before. Isn't that beautiful? Floating down to the Jamuna, it's like, wow. This is, and these persons are not afraid of death. They're not. Because one who's a devotee, why should one be afraid of death? And there's no death anyhow. It's only the demise of the material body, one way or another. The material body is just like a car, or like a coat. You put it on and you take it off. And even the mental body, the subtle body, it's just a part of the coat, part of the car. That is all given up when we finally attain our spiritual body in bhav. You see? Until that time, then we might have to take another material body. But it's under the guidance of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas, and it's so we can go on our sadhan bhajan. Like this. Because the subtle body carries everything until we actually leave the material sphere. We've had the same subtle body for a long time. That's why we need the mercy of Sri Guru, the Vaishnavas, and Hari. Because only they can purify the mind. There's a humongous, unlimited stockpile of bad samskars, sinful activities, maybe offenses, so many things. No way, we can, even our chanting Hare Krishna, it's not going to purify it. No, we have to have mercy. mercy. That's a Narta Nivritti. A Narta Nivritti comes from pleasing Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas and Krishna, and they purify our minds, especially by hearing Harikatha, Nasta, Presha, Bhadreshu, continually serving Bhagavats, the person Bhagavat, the book Bhagavat. Then Krishna comes, sits in the heart, and he cleans. For him, he can just go, he can just think, oh, let it be clean, and it'll be clean. It's not, he created everything. It's nothing. We're so insignificant. We think, oh, so, but I mean, for him, I mean, it's like, that's nothing. He purified Putin, who came, this horrible witch. Certainly, we're so insignificant. And we think it's our narcissism are so, but for us it is. It's like an iron wall between us and, and Krishna. But for him, he says, oh, that's nothing. Gone. We think, who is our best friend, our bosom friend? Krishna. The source of everything. He can easily withdraw his Maya. Easily. It's his energy. He's not covered by Maya. So we have to think like this. So a Bhav Bhakta is someone who's, he's not only is he just seeing a Narta Nivritti, he is actually relishing. He's come to the qualification. His heart is so pure, it's so soft. Krishna can only appear in a soft heart that's very grateful and very, loving and compassionate and forgiving, humble. Then Krishna will come, oh yes, oh there's a little bit of dirt over here, let's get rid of that, And then he'll make us qualified to receive prema, which is the ultimate perfection. But we go through Bhav first. So what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, what he describes in this 1D, next, after describing this Spurti, he describes these Sanchari Bhavs, the 33 Sanchari Bhavs that come up and go down in the ocean of our permanent bhav, our permanent relationship with Krishna. It's an ocean. And so I'll read them. There's 33. And they're kind of called negative bhavs, but they aren't negative in the sense materially. They just seem, but they're to heighten Krishna's pleasure, but not all of them are. So the first one is Nirveda, which means indifference. So you can see sometimes Radharani becomes indifferent to Krishna. Well, and that really makes him really eager, doesn't it? Well, that stimulates his, his what do you call it? His udkant, his eagerness. Whoa, wow, okay. She just walks off. Hare Krishna. So he becomes a little bit, okay. Number 2, moroseness. Vishad. 3, humility. Dainya. Like when she's in separation, sometimes Srimati Radhika, she's so morose, she's so humble. I don't even have one even speck of prema. I have no prema. How is it? I know that because I'm still alive. How can I be alive when Krishna's not here? I have no prema. If I really had prema, I would. If he wasn't here, I would pass. I wouldn't be here. Number 4, guilt, glani. So, it's been explained that Srimati Radhika, when Krishna is gone to Mathura, and she finally, after saying so many things, she says, really, it's not Krishna's fault. It's my fault. It's my fate. It's me. It's because I have some fault. This is why this is happening. She doesn't blame it on Krishna, she blames it on herself. I couldn't satisfy him enough. 5, fatigue, shram. So they get fatigued. The divine couple, after they're wandering through the forests and this, they get a bit fatigued, and they go and take rest in a kunj. Yes. 6, intoxication, mud. Well, we know, they drink honey wine sometimes and they get very intoxicated. It's a very fun pastime. Oh, this is a nice pastime. One time, this is explained by Krishna Kavi Karnapur. And the gopis and Krishna, it's in the evening, in the nighttime pastimes, and they've been taking honey wine, and they're completely intoxicated. And one of the gopis says to Krishna, oh, your Kostuma jam is gone. Jam is gone. Somebody's stolen your Kostuma jam. And Krishna goes, because can't see it. And he goes, oh, yeah, somebody's stolen it. You've stolen it. So then he starts accusing, oh, you've stolen it. And then she says, no, she stole it. And so they have this, yeah, she, stealing the, whoa. And then one intelligent gopi goes, no, your Vaijanti Mala stole it. So Krishna goes, oh, maybe. And he starts beating his mala. And then, of course, because of mala, the Kostuma gem jumps out. Because it was there, it just jumps out. And they go, oh, this is intoxication. So many fun pastimes, right? Okay. So then, let's see, what's the next? Oh, 7, pride, garva. Oh, everybody gets proud sometimes, especially Krishna. He really gets pride. But now we're talking about the devotees. So sometimes the gopis are quite proud. They get very proud. Especially when Radharani wins the dice game. And they've been wagering, so many different things. And one of the gopis goes over and takes Krishna's flute right in front of him, because that was his wager and he lost. They're walking by, well, you lost your flute. Number 8, doubt, sanka. Doubt, they get doubtful. Okay. Are we going to be able to see Krishna today? Will we meet Krishna today? 9, apprehension, Trishna. Oh, maybe Jatila is going to find out what's going on. Oh dear. 10, intense emotion, avega. So that can be many different intense emotions. Intense emotion. They can be laughing intensely. That's there in Prem Samput, when it's the story of Krishna in the box. When he finally gets to the gopis, he's been hiding in this box, and was delivered to Krishna, to Radharani and the gopis. Her husband, Abhimanyu, is actually carrying us, supposedly jewelry from Yashoda. But Krishna's taken the jewelry out and he's gotten in the box, right? And the box was put into Radharani's room. And they're all, oh, what's in the box? And they finally open the box and Krishna jumps out. And Yashoda has told Abhimanyu and everyone that, oh, well, Radharani should be decorated with the contents of this box. So when Krishna jumps out, he says, oh, I should be decorated. So they just, an ocean of laughter, intense laughter. They're just, everyone's, Krishna, the gopis are just doubling over in laughter. They're so happy. It's so funny. Okay. Next one, 11, madness, unmad. This is described many times, but also when the gopis are searching for Krishna. And they're just so intensely mad. Embracing the trees, asking, have you seen Krishna? And finally, in their topmost unmad, they start performing the leelas of Krishna. They think, I'm Krishna. I'm lifting Govardhan Hill. This is Putana, I'm killing. They actually think they're Krishna. They act out Krishna's pastimes. There's unmad. Such madness. 12, forgetfulness, apasmriti. Well, that's so many examples. They just forget, like in the morning pastimes. And they're supposed to go home, and Vrinda's trying to make them go home. Everyone's trying, and they keep forgetting. They got to go home. They're too happy together, Radha and Krishna, the gopis. So finally, what happens? Vrinda says, and the monkey, Kakadi, says, oh, Jatila. Oh, wow, then they start running home, like this. So, 13, disease, Vyadhi. That's a good one. There's another story about that one, the snake bites. Somehow, Radharani feels so much separation from Krishna, and so, and she's like has a disease. She's just like on her bed. And so the pastime is that Jatila, she's beside herself, everyone's beside themselves. And so I forget who, they said, oh, she's been bitten by a snake. Of course, she's bitten by the snake of Krishna, separation from Krishna. Okay, so they want a snake charmer to come, right? And so Krishna comes, disguises. Anyhow, that's a good, it's in Prem Samput, really nice pastime. Oh, it's so funny because Krishna behind closed doors and Jatila and everyone's at the door trying to hear what's going on, but no one's allowed in with the snake charmer and Radharani, right? So Krishna starts imitating the voice of a snake, you know, and he asks, "Oh, snake, why did you bite Radharani?" And then he changes his voice to be the snake. "Oh, I've come from Mount Kailash, and I'm really upset because I think I've got it right. Jatila won't let Shrimati Radharani out of the house," or something like this. And now I'm going to go bite Jatila, and I'm going to go bite, you know, and Haribo. And of course, Jatila's there at the door, you know. It's a very funny pastime. Read it in Prem Sadput. Really good. 14, bewilderment, moha. That's also, we get that in the drinking pastime, the honey wine pastimes. Death, mritu. Well, they don't actually die, but they become close to death, just like Srimati Radhika when Krishna's gone to Mathura, and she's in Uddhav Kari. She's on the point of death, like there. And laziness, alasya. Oh, when they're walking in the forest and they're just so tired and they go to the kunj, you know, alasya. They're on their flower bed and they're feeling laziness. Inertia, 17. Judya, something like that. They become stunned. It says even when Radharani hears the two syllables Krishna, she becomes stunned. Yeah, stunned, completely stunned. Where are we? Oh, 18, bashfulness, vrida. There's so many examples of bashfulness, you know, like this. 19, concealment of emotions, avahita. That's very famous. In Madhurya Ras, especially avahita is there. Everything's said in an indirect way. The emotions are in an indirect way. Even the shastras that are written about it, they're avahita, concealing, hidden, is guya, gupta, very secret. 20, remembrance, smriti. 21, argumentative, vitarka. Well, the gopis and Krishna are always arguing. That's there. 22, contemplation, chinta. So they're thinking of each other like this, contemplating when they're good, what's going to happen when they meet. 23, attentiveness, mati. 24, patience, driti. 25, jubilation. Here's a happy one. Jubilation, harsha. Laughing, happiness. And 26, eagerness, autsukya. Very eager. 27, this is a funny one. Ferociousness, I don't know how to say it. Agriya. Fierceness. I'm not sure that's in Madhu Ras, but anyhow, at least it's in Sakya Ras. They get really ferocious sometimes. 28, anger, amarsha. 29, jealousy is there. Asuya. The gopis get jealous of each other, don't they? 30, restlessness, chapalya. 31, this is interesting, sleep, nidra, because they dream. 32, deep sleep, supti. And 33, awakening or awareness, bodha. These are the 33 sanchari bhavs that come up for the pleasure of Krishna and go down. Come up in the ocean of bhav, of their sthayi bhav. It's all for the pleasure of Krishna. It's all spontaneous, completely spontaneous. So, okay. And I think it's that time, isn't it? Yeah. So there was just a little bit more. That ends 1D. Next week we'll go on to 1E. But there is one thing, a couple things that I wanted to mention. And this is a beautiful verse of Rupa Goswami, who is our Adi Guru, because we're Rupa Nuga Gauri Vaishnavas, and we're aspiring for the bhavs that are in Rupa Goswami's heart, and to please him, so he'll want to bestow his mercy upon us. So he has this Utkalika Valari, and these are his moods, his Manjari moods. He has a few other places in Savamala, Kantarpa, Karpanya Panchika, Chatupuspanya, a few where he reveals his actual personal mood. Sometimes it's very general, but he has personal mood as a Manjari. So this is really beautiful. This is verse 33 of Utkalika Valari. And he is saying, and it's really the mood of Rupa Manjari, am I at fault in making such a request? He has just prayed that Radha and Krishna would appear before him, give him darshan. He has just prayed for this. O Master and Mistress of Vrindavan, this is Vrindavan Chakravarti no. Sri Radha and Krishna, who would not be driven mad by your ever-fresh sweetness? By drinking the ras of the sweetness of your qualities, your ever-fresh qualities, I have become so intoxicated that I have dared to offer such a prayer, meaning wanting to have their darshan. And in the commentary, which is by Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu, he says, who would not be maddened by the sweetness of your eternal freshness and your other infatuating qualities, such as delivering the fallen and purifying the sinners? Then this is really nice. He says, it is only natural that the appeal of a beautiful object will incite greed even in a hopeless beggar. Isn't it? Even someone that's a hopeless beggar, if he sees something beautiful, he wants it. He eagerly wants it. Isn't that true? So it's a natural thing. Your charming qualities are the cause of this fallen person's madness. So it's your fault. You're so beautiful. It's your fault that I'm going mad, and I want this. You see? That's beautiful, isn't it? So when we see Thakurji, we should oh, yes, I want to attain your service. I want your actual darshan. I'm just seeing how the person didn't dress it quite the way I wish they had, you know? But really, we should be going deeper into our practice of bhakti, so that we can one day be qualified to attain bhav. And then there was one more thing I wanted to say. This is by the mercy of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. This is the Navadvip Bhava Taranga of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And in the Navadvip Bhava Taranga, it's a little bit like the Navadvip Mahatmya, but it's more short, and it's more of a taking darshan of Navadvip through bhav. And so in Navadvip Bhava Taranga, he's going through all the islands of Navadvip in a mood of bhav. And finally in Rudradvip, when he's met Shambhu, and he's gotten the mercy of Lord Shambhu, who's putting his Shiva, Gopeshwar, and Gopeshwar said, oh, go to Vrindavan, which is actually Koladvip, because Koladvip is Gupta Vrindavan, right? Follow the Jamuna, go to Vrindavan. And so Bhaktivinoda Thakur, at this point, he reveals that he actually had spurti. He actually had a divine vision of himself as Kamala Manjari, with his seva, with everything. And he meets Ananga Manjari, the younger sister of Srimati Radhika at that time. There's the Kandaguru Tattva in Madhurya Ras, right? And she's taking Kamala Manjari, and what happens is, she takes her around and she sees all the pastime places of Vrindavan in Navadvip. But then finally, she meets Rupa Manjari there in Navadvip. Doesn't say where, they've just gone to Dir Samir, they've gone to Vamsivat, they've come to the bank of the Jamuna there in Navadvip. And they're meeting Rupa Manjari in Navadvip. This is in her divine vision. And this is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur reveals. He says, being questioned by Sri Rupa Manjari, my mistress Ananga Manjari will reply, this new Dasi will be engaged in Lalita Sakhi's service. Her name is Kamala Manjari, and she is very devoted to Sri Gauranga. Please be merciful now and give her entrance into the flow of spontaneous devotional service, which is Rag Marg. So Ananga Manjari, that means Sri Guru, our Guru. Ananga Manjari is there, the embodiment of Guru, isn't it? It's asking Rupa Manjari, please be merciful, please give her entrance into Rag Marg. And then, this is beautiful. Hearing this statement of my mistress, meaning hearing Guru, asking on your behalf, Sri Rupa Manjari will lightly touch my body with her hand of mercy, Kripa Hasti. Her hand will touch my body. And what happens? Her touch will suddenly and deeply impart to me the sublime spiritual emotion of spontaneous loving devotion, meaning rag, real rag. Well, that rag, that spontaneous devotion will arise, and also the intense desire to perform Rupa Nuga Bhajan, which is bhajan following in the footsteps of Rupa Manjari. This is the mercy of Navadvip, the mercy of Shivaji and all the residents of Navadvip. So this is why it's always said we need the mercy of Gaur, Nitai Gaur. Like this. All of them, and of Navadvip, Jamuna, Ganga. Then we become so purified when we finally surrender to Sri Guru and make Sri Guru so happy. Then Sri Guru will give us that spurti, will give us bhav, which we see in bhav. Then the spurti starts coming. We have the qualification, and we meet Sri Rupa Manjari, who gives us qualification. Okay, we'll stop here for now. Next week we'll follow Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur further into bhav. One day we'll actually receive it. Jai Vancha Kalpatrubhischa Kripa Sindhu Vyavita Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Jai Sri Guru Rangagandhar Vikagiridhari Radhikaraman Ki Jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gandhi Kari Gandha Gandharvika Giridhari, Gandharvika Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari, Gandharvika Giridhari Radhe.
Jaya Radhika
Raman,
Raman,
Radhika Raman, Radhika Raman, Jaya Radhika Raman, Jaya Radhika Raman, Jaya Radhika Raman, Radhika Raman, Jaya Radhika Raman.
Nitai
Hari Bol, Hari
Bol.
Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol.
Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva,
Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Giri Raja Jaya Govardhana, Giri Raja Jaya Govardhana. Hari Hari Bol. Jai Ho. Radhe Radhe. Oh, one thing I wanted to say is here in Vrindavan, you might have heard the news, we're having lots of rain and the Jamuna is huge. And we're very fortunate that we have a lot of space on the other side of the Jamuna because she's flooding big time. But it's going so far over in the fields that we are not having a problem at all. But you might have heard in the mountains in North India, there's big disasters going on. Big disasters. Yes. Rivers are flooding, mountains are landsliding, people are dying. Yes. There's been a lot of disasters in the mountains of India because of the huge rain. This summer there was no summer, there was only rain, rain, rain. And it's been very, very difficult in the mountains of North India, in the Himalayas. Yes. Anyhow, but in Vrindavan, everything's okay. It's okay. Haribo. Radhe Radhe.